Okay, so lovely to see you all, ladies. Welcome to your Yoga Fit and Nidra Relax class tonight. So as mentioned, we're going to start maybe with some extra pillows and bolsters. So if you can grab whatever you've got nearby, you might need to just grab a few pillows off the sofa or pillows off the bed. Just want you to get really comfortable for the arrival. It's going to help with the tiredness that you were all talking about. So if you've got a good few pillows, you can lean them against the sofa, you can lean them against the chair, you can put a couple on top of each other, and then either put two more or a bolster this way. So you end up with a kind of 45-degree slope. Don't worry if you slightly go off camera for this, that's okay, but I just want you to be really, really comfortable. So use as many pillows as you can to support the lower back, and then you're going to rest your back all the way along your pillows. And then if you've got a blanket handy, it could be a big scarf, it could be a blanket, it could be a towel. And if you want to just run and grab one now, you're more than welcome to. You're going to get it and kind of make it as long as you can. Fold it up so it's nice and long. And I'm going to give you a few options for the legs. So if you want to have your legs bent and the soles of the feet on the floor, you can just come into a little resting position here. But if you want to get into the hips today, we're going to have the soles of the feet touching. And then I'm going to take my blanket just across the top of my ankles. And then as I bring it up and around, I'm going to wiggle to one side and just wedge my blanket in behind my bottom a little bit. And then I'm going to do that on the other side. So my legs are going to feel kind of held and supported, and it's going to mean that they're not just hanging out of the hips. If that's not enough for you, you can get extra, whatever you've got to hand, extra blanket, cardigan, and just wedge it underneath your knees. So you've just got a little bit of support here. We don't want you to completely hang open. So add extra pillows as much as you need underneath those legs. Now the hands and the arms, so we can either just hold on, like gently clasp the hands and let the arms rest. But if the arms start to feel really heavy, you might want to fold them a bit closer together and just catch around opposite elbows so that you can just really relax the arms completely. Alternatively, you can let the elbows maybe rest on the pillows behind you and have the palms facing up, resting onto the floor. See if you can find a position where as much of your arms, your head, your legs are all completely supported. Good. And then can you just make yourself just a little bit more comfy? If there's anything that's niggling and not quite super comfy, just take the next 10-15 seconds to make any adjustments and get yourself super comfy. So make sure the head's well supported and the chin's in. Those elbows and wrists are completely supported in whatever position you've chosen, either hands on the body or hands on the floor. And that the hips don't feel like they're just going to pop out. You want the legs to feel really nice and supported too. And then in this already lovely, nourishing, restorative pose, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And if anyone doesn't feel comfortable with the eyes closed, you can just peer through your eyelashes. Whichever you choose, just soften the muscles all around the eyes. And start to allow those eyeballs to drop back in the skull. So they just start to settle in. Almost feeling, if you were to open your eyes, that you'd be looking out from somewhere inside the back of the head. You feel like the eyes sink right in. And then allow the head to feel another 10% heavier and more rested. Notice what has to soften around the neck or the throat to help that to happen. Those little moments of give. Little moments of release. And then noticing the crown of your head, particularly if you've had any headaches this week, with it being very hot. I think there's also been a lot of low pressure and thunderstorms. We've also had a new moon and lots of change. And it might well be that you're menstruating at the moment or about to, and that can often lead to headaches. So just start to relax all around the crown of your head, just bringing in a sense of softening, a sense of spaciousness, and maybe becoming aware of any tingles all the way around the crown of the head. And then take that soft sensation all the way down across the face, those already relaxed eyes, and then softening the cheekbones and the jaw so the teeth are slightly apart. Down into the shoulders. Notice if there's any tension there. Just observe whatever's arising, and then can you sigh and look for another little moment of give, a moment of release. Allow the whole of your arms to feel completely empty, resting on your tummy or on the floor. Feel that contact with the earth and invite in that sense of support from the ground. And as we softly scan our awareness down through the body, just begin to notice where the torso's moving with the breath. What's naturally occurring in that moment as the breath comes in. And then as the breath leaves. Notice how we almost hardly move at all. And just quietly observe that movement of the body as the body does the breathing. Quietly observe that lovely life force energy of breath, prana coming in to cleanse, to energize, to help all the cells in the body function. It is the fuel that every cell needs. And then watching that little soft exhale as you relax and release anything that you need to, mentally, physically, emotionally, just sighing away, cleansing with that out breath. And moving that soft awareness all the way down into the belly, softening the belly, feeling the rhythm of the breath around the belly, maybe into the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. Just softly feeling that sense of inflation or pressure as we breathe in, and that sense of softness and release as we breathe out. And again, we're not doing anything to force or push the breath around. We're just noticing how our body's responding as it breathes. And then feeling the ground underneath those sit bones, feeling really plugged in and rooted. Noticing inside the hip sockets and spiraling down those inner thighs, through the knees. Inviting a bit of softness into those knees, feeling the kneecaps, feeling inside the knees. If you've had any little aches or pains, just sending whichever knee that was a little feeling of love, sense of support with those pillows underneath you, with the blankets underneath you. And just see what you can relax in that knee, just literally telling your knees that they're nice and safe and supported. And then moving down the shins and the calves and the ankles. And into the soles of the feet, and into all 10 toes. And maybe just noticing the ground once more underneath the feet, that sense of support. Invite yourself to rest and recharge. And just take a moment there just to observe whatever's arising, sensations, feelings. Just be completely comfortable. We're only going to be here for another half a minute or so, so just making the most of this restorative welcome to the practice this evening. Waking up our awareness, waking up our sensitivity to what we feel in and around our body. Allowing the mind to go quiet as we step into that place of awareness. Good, and then taking a big deep breath in. And a big deep breath out. And another big breath in. And out. And one more big breath in. Great, start to kind of undo your blanket or come up towards a seated position. And as you get up towards seated, just bring the hands together and give them a really big rub. A little vigorous rub here. Gently opening the eyes. Good. And then take a lovely big breath in as you reach the arms out and lift up the heart. And then exhale, curl up into a little ball and just give yourself a little squeezy hug. Relax your head. Inhale, big expressive movement with the breath. And exhale, cross the arms gently the other way and just pause there, relax the head, little hug. Inhale, open the body. Exhale, slow it down, pause. Hug, squeeze, relax the head. And then one more breath. Big breath in, stretch the fingers, stretch the toes. And exhale, one more hug. Okay, so we're going to start to move through a few gentle warm-ups. So just beginning with those shoulders. If you need to readjust where you are on the mat, feel free to spiral around. Move pillows out of the way, just a few lovely circles. And then just folding the feet in so that you're in a really nice, easy pose, just making sure that you can literally wiggle from sitting bone to sitting bone. Just relaxing those thighs. And then taking a few circles here with the body, spreading your toes a little bit so we can grow tall through the body. And just see how that feels through the back, through the shoulders. Be wary if you've had any twinges in the back. Maybe make your movements a bit smaller or a little bit more cautious. And then pausing, let's go the other way. What can you feel in those hip sockets? Maybe in the thighs. And then dropping into our nice, slow, deep breathing. Deep breath in through the nose. Lovely big sigh out. As if I'm gently steaming up a mirror held just a couple of inches in front of my face. That noisy sigh. Good. And we'll do just a few little side bends, one way and the other. Just kind of keep it floaty for now. Just thinking of mobility, thinking of a sense of freedom and fluidity. Little tiny reaching out with your fingertips as you spread your toes. Good. And then just as you come over to one side, pause there, look up to the ceiling, and then start to just lift this hand a millimetre off the floor. Now we're going to have to find a bit of core activation when we do that. It looks like I've hardly moved at all, but this hand is literally floating a millimetre off the floor. I can still feel the skin on the floor, but because I'm not leaning into it, now all my core's active. And start to blow out your breath as if you're blowing out 100 candles. Good, we're going to change sides. Reach up and over, look up towards the ceiling. Inhale, and then start to blow out those candles. And lift the other hand just so it's lightly grazing the ground. We're going to take a couple more breaths here. Feeling perhaps your pelvic floor activate, your lower tummy and the side body, just noticing how we can instantly get into the core and we just take a little bit of weight through our structure. And back up to center. Good. Couple of another shoulder rolls here. Bringing the soles of the feet together. Let's just bring the feet as close in as possible. Hold on to the feet and then let the head relax down. So just maybe feeling that little bit of work all the way down the back of the spine here. And then little smiles with the face, side to side. Connecting with your breath. Deep breath in. Big sigh out. Relax those thighs. Good. Deep breath in. Picking up the head, dropping one ear to one shoulder. Relaxing the shoulders down and back. So go ahead and kind of squeeze the shoulder blades down towards each other as if the shoulder blades are coming into kind of a V shape, the bottom part of a heart. Just squeezing the bottom bit of the shoulder blades all around that bra strap area. And then letting the head release over just another millimeter. Feeling that spacious stretch from ear to shoulder. And then head to center and go for the tilt on the other side. Good. Can you find your sit bones? Relaxing your thigh. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Relax those shoulders. Kind of open up the shoulders across the front of the body by taking the shoulders down and back, just squeezing and activating those lovely shoulder blades. One more breath here as you relax your head. Good, and then gently release. Another little shoulder roll. Take one leg out slightly in front of you and bring the other leg behind you. So as you look at your legs, they're in a lovely 90-90 degree. And just start to get into the hips. We're going to place the hands on the floor and lean over that front knee. So maybe bringing the head to the floor today. Then take the arm that's by your foot and just bring it all the way up and around. So you're coming into like a little sidey bend here. Trying to reach my hands as far to my left as I can. My feet are over to my right. So just see if you can feel into that. Well done, you guys. Breathe into the ribs. Relax your body. Take a moment to give up. Let it go. And then slowly walk the hands back to center. So I'm leaning over my knee, trying to get my forehead to the floor. I'm feeling a lovely bit of a stretch through that back hip and glute. And then I'm just going to slide my face down towards my foot. And then I'm going to move up and down along the length of the shin. So as you do this, just notice what you can feel in your own hips, breathing in and out, staying as low to the ground as you can. Good, it's one of my favorite moves at the moment. And then we're going to come up and just switch those legs around. So we're looking for 90 degrees in that back leg and then 90 degrees in that front leg. So if it's in a bit, you might need to take the foot out a bit. And then hands down over that front knee. So maybe bringing the forehead to the floor if you get there. Start to activate your feet. Flex them back towards the respective knees. And then bringing your arms over your head. This side, I'm going to take them around to my right side. Try and get my head back down. And get a little stretch there through the ribs. So breathing into wherever you're feeling it. It might be in the thighs. It might be in the ribs. But taking a little moment. Just to feel the ground coming up to meet you. And giving your weight down to the earth. Big sighs can help. And then as we gently come back over that front knee, my hands are down either side. I've got one hand by my foot and one hand behind me. I'm going to just glide my head down towards my foot and then back to the knees. If I'm sliding along the front of my shin, trying to lengthen my spine here. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Good. And then coming back up to center. Okay, so a little bit of core work, just building that in. Let's keep our legs in this 90-90 pose. And then without putting our hands down, try to go from one side to the other. Now, if it's too much for you, you can bring the hands down and lean into them and just kind of window wash the legs one way and the other. But if you've got that going okay, and you can just have the hands in prayer. And then when you get over to one side, just take a moment to press that back knee down and sit up tall and look over your shoulder. So just go to the full edge of that pose and then come all the way back to center, over to the other side, and just slow it down as you get to the full edge on the other side. So don't rush it, take your time and enjoy that full expression of the movement. Good, well done you guys. We're going to do one more on each side. Let's see how you're getting on. Lovely core control. Fantastic, well done. And then we're going to come around from that into our lovely all fours. And when you're in all fours, just do a few little circles in one direction. Really nice just to ease out the shoulders and the hips. A few little circles in the other direction. So swaying and moving and grooving. Good, and then take your cat-cow. So start to ripple through the spine. And as we do cat-cow today, set your intention in the tailbone and start to tuck it under, linking one vertebrae at a time. As you round up towards the sky, just rounding the back when you get to the top, and then start to stick the tailbone out, linking all the way until we're looking up, heart's pulling forward, shoulders are drawing back, and just press into all 10 fingertips. So we really get that nice arch through the spine, and then the other way. Good, coming back to center, have a nice long flat spine, just take your shoulders forward here and drop the pelvis. So we're going to work into the wrists and then lean from one hand to the other. So getting a little bit of strength through the arms, a little bit of strength through the core. So use your blowing out the candle breath here, and we're just swaying from side to side. Brilliant, you've got it. And then as you come back into all fours, just turn the hands out. So rather than facing forward, they're just facing out to the edges of the mat. And again, we're going to just take a little proper side to side here, just leaning the weight into one hand and then leaning the weight into the other. So leaning into one hand, feeling that little bit of strength, and then leaning back into the other. Really lovely. Now we're going to take the right foot forward and come up into a little lunge. Just going to tilt this up ever so slightly. Trying to see how the room works this way round. And with the hands on the hips, we're just going to lunge in and lunge back out. So straightening the leg and bringing the toes up, coming into a little forward bend. And then as we lunge in, can we bring the arms up? So when you get into this part of the pose, have the knee over the ankle and lift up through the heart. Maybe squeeze the glutes together. And then as you press out, rounding, hands to the floor, chin down, and toes back towards your face. So we're just going to do that a few more times. I think we lost Lena there, so we'll just get her back in. Taking your deep lunge, bringing your arms all the way up. And we're going to make it fluid as you round out, chin down. Spread your little toe away from the big. And then stepping into that front leg, activating the legs, squeezing your glutes, your butt muscles as you lift your heart up, and exhale, rolling back into that forward bend. Good, we're going to do one more here, dropping the hips down, lifting all the way up, lovely spread toes, and then come up into, just come up out of it a little bit, so you're not hanging out all the way down, just come up a little bit. Put your front hand down on the front knee, and then the other arm, you're going to tilt it over to the side. So you're going to be in a lovely lunge, and then taking a side bend. Now that front leg might want to wing out to the side, so keep it directly over the ankle and start to look up past the ceiling. And we want to feel this all the way down the back leg, the front of the thigh, and into the psoas. So something Kim was talking about. Can you lift up through the front of the body here? And from this back knee, feel all across the hip flexor and up into the tummy, making lots of space. Good, gently press out. And we're going to change sides. So taking the other foot forward, going a little bit wide if you need a bit more balance, or a little bit more forward if you want more depth, more challenge. And then dropping the hips down. Go careful for the first one. Inhale, bring those arms all the way up, lifting up the ribs today. And then exhale, rounding, hands to the floor, head released, toes to the ceiling, little toe away from the big. And then stepping into that foot, knee forward over the ankle, hips relaxing, squeeze your bottom and lift up, straighten the arms, spread out through all 10 fingertips, and then exhale. So I'm going to encourage you again, or invite you again, to hang out at the end of the movement. So the movement's like a pendulum, and when we get into that full expression, can we just pause there at the top of the breath? So if we've inhaled, we're just pausing at the top of the inhale, and then we're exhaling, and we're just pausing at the end of the exhale. Then the next breath rushes in, we start to move. So we're slowing the breath down, and we're just hanging out for a little bit of stamina, a little bit of strength at the end of those lovely movements. Good, this time we're going to step into that front leg. If you're all the way down with the pelvis, just come up a little bit and then place the front hand on the thigh and take the top arm over into your side bend. Now what can be useful with this front hand is to just gently press it against the knee and press the knee out. So you've got a little bit of resistance work going on in the arm and the leg. So just to change that up a little bit, and then reach out with that top arm, maybe looking up towards the ceiling. If you've got a lovely bit of sensation, awareness going on here, and you feel like you want to drop the hips down now, explore a little bit more depth just for the next couple of breaths. Really beautiful. Keep breathing and then gently release. So coming back into all fours, just take a few little nice kind of cat, quite like a bit scooping cat here actually, that will feel quite lovely. So we're going to exhale as we round our back up to the ceiling and sit our bottoms down, and then inhale as you press into the hands. We're inhaling as we draw the head forward, squeezing those arms nice and strong, and then exhaling as we round back. And then the final breath, we're going to come into child's pose, but today let's have the knees a bit closer together. I'm always a big favourite of having them far apart, and that's an option that's available to you. But today, if you're comfortable trying this with the knees together, start to fold over the legs and bring the head down and the arms behind you, palms facing up, and just have a lovely big breath here into the back of the bra strap. So feeling the belly pressing on the thighs. We can't get much wiggle room there with the breath because there's a contact with the belly on the thighs. But try to breathe into it. Try to make a little bit of space. And then see if you can breathe into the sacrum. It's that lovely big diamond at the base of the spine. Can you breathe really wide out to the hips and deep down into the sit bones? Almost imagine you're inflating 2 balloons either side of your bottom with the breath. And then trying to breathe that lovely full balloon-like breath across the bra strap, behind the heart, in between those shoulder blades. Breathing really wide, really high. Maybe up into the neck. Good. On your next breath, just relaxing completely. And then we're going to inhale and just press into the hands, tuck the toes under, keep the hands really wide and the elbows a little bit bent. And then slowly start to allow the heels to inch towards the floor. That's going to lift your hips to the ceiling. We're going to keep the knees a little bit bent, so relax the thighs, relax the knees, and just press into the hands to get a lovely long spine, tilting the tailbone up high. Once you've got that going on, you can drop into one heel and then the other, just bending out one knee and then the other. And again, don't move too quickly. Can you pause at the end of that full expression of the move? So one heel's trying to get down to the floor. Then maybe feeling it in the calf. To get into the hamstrings, think about lifting the tailbone and the sit bone up to the ceiling. You might find a little bit more hamstring action. And then changing sides, settling into the other heel. Take your time. Making space from behind the knee down to the heel, and then from behind the knee up to the sit bones. So the legs opening in two different directions at the same time. When you've done it on each side, try it on both legs at the same time. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Now step the left foot into the center of where the 2 feet are, and then lift the right leg up towards the ceiling, and we're going to bend the knee and take the foot out over behind us. So as I look under my left armpit, I can see my toes wiggling. And we're going to inhale and take that leg all the way forward and step it up underneath our right hand. We're going to drop the hips and we're going to come up into a little lunge. So we're going to move really slowly. First of all, we're going to bring the arms up so we're on a diagonal line. We're going to squeeze the thighs towards the center. We're going to reach forward and reach back. Then on your next inhale, slowly lift your body all the way up. Drop into the hips. Place the back heel down on the floor. Turn yourself into a nice, lovely warrior pose as you drop down into the pelvis. So leveling out those shoulders, palms facing down, turn them up to the side, sit down a bit deeper. And then inhale, lift that arm all the way up to the sky behind you. Exhale, bring the hands back down to the floor. Step your right foot back. And from plank, either bring the knees down or roll forward and slowly come down into chaturanga. So just hovering an inch off the floor and then gently landing. Feet wide, press the feet into the ground. Inhale, squeeze those shoulders down and back. Elbows in as you come up into baby cobra. Keep breathing in and out here. On your next exhale, bring the head down. Inhale, come up for a second set. So my feet are pressing down, my knees are lifting. Squeezing the back of my body strong from the bra strap down to the pelvis. And I'm going to release back to the ground. We're going to do one more here. Inhale. Coming up into your baby cobra, lifting up through the heart, pressing down into the hips. The hands are light, so try taking them off the floor. And then we're going to bring the head back down, toes tuck under, and press back up into plank. From plank, bend the knees and find yourself back into downward dog, having a little walk out in dog, or if you need to, dropping into child's pose with the knees wide. Just have a little break. Big breath in, big breath out. Relax here for a moment. Then step the right foot into the center line. Inhale, lift your left leg straight up to the ceiling. Bend the knee and just look for the toes underneath your right armpit. Try and get the knee up as high as you can. And then level back the shoulders because they've probably gone a little bit wonky. Big breath in, big breath out. Relax. And then take that left foot and place it where your left hand was. So take a moment to set yourself up. Maybe go a bit wider with the feet, drop into the hips. And then as you press down into the feet, engage through your core. We're going to blow out 100 candles as we bring the arms up level to the ears. So in a nice straight line. Good. As you blow out, feel your pelvic floor and your core gently responding. We're going to hold it here for another couple of breaths, squeezing kind of your thighs back to an imaginary center line. And then placing the back heel down on the floor, inhale, slowly unpivot into your warrior, settling the hips and taking that front knee a little bit behind you towards the little toe side of the foot. Now, if you're a bit lungy with the shoulders, bring the shoulders back and turn the hands forward. So this upper body is completely parallel to the long side of your mat. Good, roll to the outside edge of your back foot. Take a big breath in. Exhale, sit down. Good. If you've overshot the ankle with the knee, you might need to take a longer stride. One more breath here. And then looking towards the hand over the bent knee. Big inhale, flip up towards the ceiling. Good. Keep breathing as you sit down a bit deeper. On your next exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor and step yourself back into plank. Good. Now this time we're going to come down onto the knees. We're going to be in quite a long plank. We're going to have the arms straight and we're just going to do some scapular push-ups here. So what this means is I'm dropping my heart down and I'm feeling my shoulder blades close together. And then I'm going to press into the hands and lift my heart away from the floor. And I feel my shoulder blades widen and open and go a bit roundy. So it's a tiny movement. Your arms stay completely straight and kind of locked. And you drop down and then you press back up. Now use your candle breath. So I like to breathe in, exhale as I lower, breathe in, and then exhale as I rise. So this is a super strong one. I'm going to do one more here. Brilliant. And then knees wide, toes touch, and come all the way down into a really long, peaceful warrior. Forehead on the floor, big sighs. And just give yourselves a moment here to completely relax. So elbows land on the ground, shoulders soften. As we breathe into the back of the body, we feel wide around those ribs. So start to visualize that rib cage, 360 degrees of rib cage. So as we breathe, it moves in each direction, not just forwards, not just out to the sides, not just back, but in all dimension. So can you breathe roundly into the whole of the ribs, into the whole of your diaphragm? And as you exhale and relax, there's usually a little subtle softening and you might well feel your spine lengthening. So it's one of the things to not try to do and not try to make happen, not physically wiggle yourself long. It's one of these ones we have to be really patient and watch and observe. Breathe wide, exhale, relax. And do you feel a little subtle lengthening through the spine from the tailbone to the heart, from the heart to the crown of the head? And with that lengthening, then maybe you might get to wiggle the head a couple of meters further along the mat. It can be really tempting in yoga to try and find this kind of ideal idea of a shape or a pose. It is actually really more about how it feels and looking for these subtle spaces that we find with our breath and with relaxation. Really good. So walking your hands back in, you're going to wiggle the knees back in, and then using your core, just going to start to press into the floor, blow out 1,000 candles, start to activate your core, and then if you can get your palms together, press the palms together and slowly start to inhale, keeping your core on as you gently bring your body back up So having to use a little bit of core strength there. And then exhale, arms down. We're going to roll the shoulders. Okay, so we're going to come down onto our backs for a little bit. If you need some extra padding behind you, just pop the blanket down. You might want a blanket if you've got any niggles or you just want a little bit of extra comfort. So make it nice and big and broad, at least under the shoulders and under the bottom. And if you find when you lie down that your chin, be careful of any hairbands, get those out of the way. But if your chin's jutting up towards the ceiling and you feel like you've got a big crease at the back of the neck, then use a pillow under your head. So you've got a bit of extra support and the chin can come in almost like a little double chin. Now we're going to have a little look at hamstrings this evening. So having the feet bent on the floor, just do a couple of little rock and rolls with the pelvis. Just seeing if you can feel the pelvis landing evenly on the ground. So to do that, have your hands, heels of the hands on your hips, fingertips on your pubic bone, and just tilt one way and then tilt the other way, and then come into a place where all three corners of that triangle, your hips and your pubic bone, feel quite level. And you should feel that you've got a little gap in the back of the waist. We don't want to press the back of the waist into the floor. We want to have a natural curve in the spine. And then just making sure your feet feel kind of light on the floor. The knees are level with the hips, they're not winging out. Just going to pick up your right leg. We're going to take the hands around the knee and just start by drawing the knee in towards the chest. So that will probably flatten your back into the floor a little bit. That's okay. Just keep drawing the knee in towards the armpit and towards the chest. And then at the same time, start to send the tailbone back down to the floor. So we've got this equal and opposite force going on, and you might feel the front of the hips feel a bit squishy. And then we're going to start to release that foot up towards the ceiling. And with your right fingertips, the first two fingers, just see if you can hook the big toe. If you can't hook the big toe, you might be able to grip the outside edges of the foot, but the big toe is quite a good one. And keep the knee quite bent for now. What we're going to do is just inhale, exhale, blow the breath out, and roll the body up. So we've got the head and the shoulders up off the floor. Start to let the belly kind of glue down towards the floor, and then begin to work on straightening that leg. So kicking up through the heel, relaxing the right shoulder, trying to send the thigh bone of that right leg back down into the hip socket. So you can even use your left hand to run down the back of the right thigh and almost press the bone back into the hip socket. And you're looking for these little moments of give behind the knee where the leg might ping straight. When you've got it as straight as you comfortably can, you're going to try and take that straight leg back down to the floor as you roll your head and your shoulders back to the earth. So you're going to try and trick your hamstrings into opening and keep relaxing the shoulder. And it's one of those ones to kind of come in and come out of. So rather than just getting a big fight with the back of the legs, relax the knee, relax the hamstrings, roll up with a little bit of core support, play with straightening the leg, so bending the leg, and then straightening the leg, and then letting the leg rest back into its hip socket, maybe with some little circle movements with the leg, and then coming back down to the ground with the head and the shoulders. Good, now we're going to lengthen out the other leg on the floor and release the toes. And we're going to make this right leg into a little right angle. And taking the right hand on the inside of the knee, try to keep your left hand on your left hip. And without rolling to the right, let your right leg open up towards the right side of your body. But try not to roll across to the right. So keep your left hand firmly holding the left hip down onto the floor. Your toes are all active, flexing back towards your relevant knees, your shoulders and your heads gluing onto the mat. And then just breathe into that right hip space. Then we're going to lift the leg back up and we're going to roll our bodies across to the left. So I'm kind of lying on my left side. My left hand's on top of the right knee now. We don't have to let it touch the floor. And then I'm going to bring the right arm back behind me. So I'm coming into a lovely little twist. So sending the right hip down towards the bottom of your mat, trying to make as much space around the waist as you can. Take a couple of deep breaths in and out here as you relax your shoulders and look out towards your thumbs. Feet awake, toes spread, fingers alert. Feeling what's going on in the core as you breathe in and out. Good. And then gently roll yourself back to center, placing your feet on the floor, and then just doing a couple of little roll-ups with the pelvis and back down, just to let everything in the pelvis settle back to where it needs to be. Maybe just a few tilts again with the tailbone, feeling the pubic bone in the hips, coming into that nice level starting off position. Fantastic, well done. Just take a big breath in and a big breath out. Let it all go for a moment. And then gently bring your left knee in, hugging the knee, interlacing the fingers. Start to squeeze the knee towards the shoulder and feeling that hip have a little bit of compression. Breathing into the tummy. So this is a lovely one as well for the digestive system. Just giving the tummy a little squeeze. As you squeeze the knee in, relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears, keeping that chin in, and the eyes are looking down almost towards your foot. And then we're going to release that leg and let it lightly kind of travel up towards the ceiling. Two first fingers, your peace fingers of your left hand, hook them around the big toe, and then just start to roll the body and the shoulders and the head up. So bit of blowing out the candle breath, little bit of core response, and then just playing around with straightening that leg if you can. Finding what's going on in those hamstrings, in the calves. As you kick out through the heel, maybe feeling this in your Achilles, flexing the toes back towards your knees. And then maybe using the right hand to send the hand down the back of the thigh and try and feel the bone squeeze back into its socket. So a sense of rolling the tailbone back down to the floor, taking the pelvis with, taking the thigh bone with, keeping the legs straight. When you've got all that kind of going on, you can roll the head and the shoulders down, and then you're going to try and relax with a much straighter leg. Trying to relax around this new shape, relaxing the left shoulder into the socket. And if you feel like you lose it and you get into that little hamstring tug of war, rolling up, bending the knee, coming all the way out, rolling the tailbone back down to the ground, having a little play with straightening and bending the leg. And then when you feel like you've got that bit of extra space, settling the head and the shoulders down again. Where can you release? Can you find a little bit more out through the heel, a little bit more settling the hip back down to the floor? Well done. And then as we release that leg, we're going to straighten out the other leg onto the floor, toes back towards your face, allowing that leg to settle in a little right angle, and then taking the left knee out to the side without rolling to the left. So right hand on the right hip to help connect you down. Keeping the leg at a little right angle, keeping your toes flexed, opening up through the hip as you breathe in and breathe out. Relaxing there for a moment. Looking for that little moment of give. And then gently bringing the leg back up, placing the right hand to the outside edge of the left knee, rolling your whole body over onto the right side. So readjust your shoulders. The knee's not going to touch the floor. Mine's about 6 inches off the ground, maybe 8 inches off the ground. And then taking my left arm back behind me, shoulder height, palm out, looking out towards that lovely thumb, reaching away from you. And then just feeling into the top of that left hip. Can you roll the hip away from your face? So there's a tendency for that left hip to scrunch into the waist. Can you roll it down towards your feet and make space around that waist? So rather than letting the leg roll in, you're really trying to let the hip roll down. Now once you've got your shape, keep the feet and the hands active, but can you soften all the bits in the middle? Probably you've got a bit of pelvic floor and core working just to support this shape that we've made. But can we relax the effort around the edges? Can you let the ground hold you and support you for another couple of sighs? Just letting that breath go. Just finding that lovely moment of ease as you relax in your pose. Well done. Gently coming back out. Again, just readjusting through your spine, having a couple of little roll up and downs if that feels good. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and let the heels flop out, hands on the belly, shoulders down and back. Taking a few nice breaths into the belly here. And exhaling. Just being aware of that added kind of pressure as we breathe in. As you feel the belly rise, can you feel a little pressure in the pelvic floor as that diaphragm presses down? And then feel it all release as you exhale. And the belly empties towards the ground. And just watch and observe your breath for a few rounds. Finding the belly, finding the pelvic floor, finding the diaphragm. Maybe even finding a sense of pressure into the sacrum. As you breathe in, you can feel that pressure in the back of the body as well. And then noticing a similar effect all the way around the ribs. So this time breathing into the ribs. Trying to breathe wide. Trying to inflate the lower ribs out. Trying to press the back ribs into the floor. Breathing 360 degrees forward, back and sides all at the same time. And then exhaling, letting it all go. And doing that 2 or 3 more times, just exploring the breath in that part of the body. Notice if it's easier to flare the front ribs, but harder maybe to get into the back. Maybe see if you can breathe into the back. Just taking 1 or 2 more restful, aware, full breaths here. And then hands underneath the knees. Yeah, we're just going to roll to the side and carefully come up. And I'm just going to give you a little couple of options for your final kind of Shavasana resting position. Okay, so I think a few of you did this with me the other week, where if you've got a sofa or a bed nearby, you can put a pillow underneath your bottom and then put your feet up. So you've got 90 degrees and you put your calves and your feet up on the bed or the sofa and then come down onto the floor. Again, watch for the jutty up chin. If you've got that, little extra blanket or a little pillow under the head, just so you can draw the chin down, hands rest on the tummy. So if this is one of your favorites, a lot of you are feeling really tired, then you might want to take that as an option. If anybody wants to get a little bit into the shoulders while we do our Shavasana, I'm going to give you a couple of other options with your blanket. So you can either have it folded very kind of long and a little bit broad, And you can rest over the blanket. You can have a couple of pillows folded under those knees, or a bolster if you've got a bolster under the knees. And we're going to have the feet back together and the knees relaxing. And then you're going to relax down over the long pillow and let your shoulders open, and just bring the arms either into cactus arms or right over the head. Just make sure if your elbows are in the air, you adjust to get them onto the floor. And we want the wrists and the knuckles to be kind of relaxing as much as possible too. So this is another option for you, which can just feel a little bit more opening across the front of the body. So make sure the knees are supported. And if that's not great for your back for any reason, if you want to get right into the shoulders, you can also use the blanket and wrap it around the chest. You all look quite comfortable, so we'll come back to that third option maybe next time. Now, at any point, if this becomes unsustainable for you, uncomfortable, you can wiggle out. You can come into regular Shavasana, or you can curl up on your side. So always do listen to your body. And wherever you are, we're going to invite the eyes to close. Maybe making sure you've got some nice music playing now and you're tucked up in your blankets. If you're a bit cold in your space, we want to be nice and warm. And then just checking in that all those joints are really supported. So from behind the knees down to the feet, if you've got them resting on the sofa or the chair or the bed. Or if the feet are together and you've got a diamond with your legs, that both knees and thighs are fully supported with blankets or pillows or bolsters. And that the head and the shoulders have got whatever they need to. At any point you can always adjust. If your hands are over your head, you can always bring them by your side, palms facing up, or rest them on your belly. So just be as comfortable as you possibly can be. We're going to do one more blowing out the candle breath. So we're going to make it as long as we can. Just watch the end of that breath disappear. Notice for any little softnesses, little releases to move through the body at your end of the exhale. And as you just quietly now allow the breath to come and go, just observe those little moments of give where the body releases tension, where it finds the ground with a little bit more support. Notice if you are tense, maybe in the jaw or the shoulders, if you're holding in your tummy, wherever there's any work, can you relax that for this moment and let it go? So just allowing the breath to naturally come and go now. Start to feel the weight of your body resting into the earth. Let the head be a little bit more heavy. Notice all those points of contact with the ground. And let yourself just be completely held. Relaxing the shoulders and the elbows, the wrists, and the fingertips. And what can you feel in the palms of the hands? And then finding all the way down through the spine, from the back of the head to the tailbone, noticing vertebrae by vertebrae, or noticing any kind of gappy bits that you can't quite feel into or visualize. Just observing what's there. Maybe feeling the space across the front of the hips, and the connection with the earth, with the sacrum. Sacrum's always about what we're holding, usually to do with the roots that we've come from or the roots that we're creating. So usually family matters. So just breathing into any sensations, sending a bit of love and light and healing to any bits in the body that have been struggling recently. Relaxing the thighs, the knees, the shins and the calves, the ankles, the feet and the toes. And perhaps if there are any niggles in the body, just feeling into that sensation now and noticing what that sensation is. Is it tingly? Is it numb? Is it sharp? Is it a bit fluffy? Is it static? Does it move? Is it hot? Is it cold? And then thank that sensation for being there. And just ask it, does it have a message for you? Is there anything that you need to know? And notice the first thing that comes into your mind. Thank that bit of your body for letting you know that. And then start to notice the skin across your forehead. Have a sense of your whole body resting completely. And visualize you're resting in a warm, safe space. Wherever you choose to go with that is fine. A warm, safe space for you where there's nothing to do but rest and be nourished. Notice in that space, kind of what time of day or night is it? Are you with anyone or are you on your own? What position is your body in? What can you feel touching your skin? Is there a source of warmth in this warm, safe space? Where are you feeling that on your body? And then notice all the sounds and the smells in your warm, safe space. Notice what you notice nearby. And notice what you notice further away. Might be what you can see or what you can hear. Just really be in your warm, safe space. Allowing your body just to drop into a whole other level of relaxation so you can recharge and start practicing accessing that warm, safe space when you go to bed at night. And then closing your eyes in your warm, safe space, and letting yourselves just have a sense of floating off towards sleep. And that rested awareness. Remember, you don't have to be anywhere else right now. Just give yourself permission just to be. If the position you've chosen is at all uncomfortable, move into something more comfortable. And then just start to listen to all the sounds you can hear outside the building. You hear the birds, the wind or the rain, the traffic, chatter. Notice what you can hear. It's lovely when you can hear the nature all around you if it's a bit stormy. And then notice what you can feel. Can you feel the touch of your body on the earth? Can you feel your breath quietly coming and going into your body? Taking a big deep breath in. Start to just curl up onto your side and relax there for a moment. Bending your knees a little bit, supporting your head. Relaxing your whole body there for a moment. And then when you're ready, having a little wiggle with the fingers and the toes, allowing this sense of ease and relaxation to stay with you as you gently open your eyes, taking in where you are and how you feel at the end of your practice. I thought I would do some of my angel cards again before class, because I did that last week with the summer solstice, and interestingly the same card out of 44 was drawn, which was dreams. So just pay attention to your dreams at the moment, write them down, try to notice any patterns or meanings, any inspirations or ideas. There's lots of wisdom coming through in our dreams at the moment. So maybe have a think about that for the week ahead. And then when you're ready, just having a little stretch, pressing into the hands, big inhale, carefully coming up into a seated position, rolling the shoulders and just checking out how you feel in your body, making sure everything's okay, maybe having a little stretch up, whatever feels good for you. Well done, everyone. And then we'll bring our hands into prayer position. And to each other, we say namaste. Namaste, everybody. Peace to all, love to all, light to all. Namaste. Yay.